Hello LAFD, Firefighter Kevin Camplain coming to you today from our hazmat room. Some important information for you to know going onto those trucks. Currently, on your frontline engines, as well as your ambulances, the medics, we have the multi-ray light air monitoring device. It's your 4-gas instrument for the PID lamp. In addition to that, on the engines, frontline engines as well as rescue, you have a Q-ray. These two units were formed in conjunction because of the inability of the technology to have multiple sensors to do everything that we wanted. Basically, we could not have an HCN sensor in all-in-one unit with all of the other sensors, which are your LEL, your CO, your H2S, and your oxygen as well. Right now, we're going to combine these two units into a new unit that will be hitting your trucks shortly within the month of October. These units will still remain on the truck until the end of the year. That way you have a backup, you have something you're used to. We want you to get trained up on the new units, be efficient at that, and then at the beginning of the next year you'll see these disappear and we'll move just to the one unit. That one unit looks just like this. So this takes the place of two units. It's going to be on all your frontline engines and the medics. This one's a 5-gas as well as your PID, so it allows the technology, the capability is advanced where we can have 5 different sensors and still have the PID lamp included in that. So, going in a clockwise fashion, you're going to have on the top here your LEL sensor. In the middle, in this green circle, it's going to tell you which sensor is which, and what it's reading is going to be in the white section to the left or to the right on the right hand side. CO would come next, HCN. So you have your toxic twins together, and on any kind of salvage and overhaul task that you're doing on an incident, you want to keep those two in mind. On the top right, you're going to have your O2 sensor. H2S falls in the middle, and then your PID lamp, your VOCs is on the bottom right. On all the units right now, we have mounted a cradle to hold your unit and to charge it. You're going to want to place it into the cradle backwards and upright. So this is the pump, this is the battery. With that being said, the battery has an LED light in this bottom left corner if you're looking at it. Green means it's charged, red means it needs to be charged or it is charging, and an amber light here shows some sort of fault. There's an issue with the battery, and you need to send an email to the hazmat calibration team to address that. Or you can send an email to us as well if there's any kind of problems with the sensors. So when we start this unit up, you're going to see how it cycles through. It's going to give you your low alarm limits, high alarm limits, and then the option to do a fresh air calibration. You only have 7 or 8 seconds to choose to do the fresh air cal, which only needs to be done on the first day of your tour, or it goes into just the regular measurement mode. After that, the 2 buttons, the down arrow and the up arrow, only show a bump on one side and cal on the other side. You don't have the gases in the field to do either of those, so please do not touch those, otherwise it's going to try to calibrate the machine. And it'll turn it into an error when it doesn't, it's not able to bump or cal correctly, so we'll have to fix it at that point. It won't be usable. So here's what it looks like when you turn it on. Hold the button down for 4 seconds. Same when you want to shut it off. It's going to have a turn on cycle time where it's starting to warm the sensors up. It's going through all the menu options, all of its software, and so forth. It's going to display serial number and so forth. You don't need to be worried with that. This is the section where you have to do a pump stall test. It says please block sampling system on the back. It's going to be your pump right here. This is the pump and the inlet. You just block your inlet with your finger till it's done. It's going to say pump flow blocked, pump test pass, and you're good to go. It'll start booting up. It does have Bluetooth, however, we're going to be disabling that. So please don't try to enable anything. It goes through all the different types of calibration gases and the last time they were calibrated. As you see, it's a PID lamp. Here's your low alarm and the limits for each sensor. High alarm and the limits for each sensor. So if you ever need to reference those, you can. The little circle in the middle displays what the sensors are. And the measurement readings are on the sides of that, both the left and right hand side. And again, your calibration cylinders, you don't need to worry about any of that. It's going to go through the date and time. Along the top banner, you'll see your battery level on the top right, how full your battery is. Time is on the top left. Status bar on the bottom, that green section. Once it's all the way to the right, it moves from left to right. Then the unit's ready to roll. Right here is where it's asking for a fresh air calibration. You have 7 seconds to hit the down arrow. And it'll go through that setup. Check marks show that each one passes a fresh air cal. Did you see how fast that went? A lot faster than our multi-rays. So that's one benefit, that this is more efficient and faster. So it's measuring right now. It's got green in the circle for each sensor. When you're getting close to your alarms, that'll go red. The bottom button, as you saw, shows bump. Right shows cal. These are the buttons I had mentioned I don't want you to touch because you need to have gases to operate in those menu options. So once the pressure calibration is complete, it's in measurement mode, all those sensors have been set to 0, you're good to go. If you do get a fault, one of them doesn't have a check mark, repeat the process, do one more fresh air calibration, and if it corrects, all of them check off, everything's corrected, then the unit's good to use. But after that, if upon the second time you've tried to do a fresh air cal and it doesn't correct any sensor that was giving it a problem, the unit is not usable. We'd have to recalibrate it and figure out what's going wrong with it. Again, the battery life is 20 hours. It is set in a cradle where it's going to be charging it when the unit's on the shoreline. The last thing we want you to remember with your new MSA Altair 5Xs is do not try to place these in the exhaust of any trucks or anything to see if the sensors are working. We do a monthly calibration. Everything should be fine. If you're fresh air calibrating them on the first day of your tour, that'll let you know the sensors are working properly. It'll give you an error if there's something out of the limits it's supposed to be. If you're doing that, there should be no issues. But don't try to put this over the stove in the kitchen to see if it's working, or the exhaust of any vehicles. As well as keep it out of the way of any sprays, silicone type sprays like Armor All, lubricants that we use on nozzles. You don't want that to touch the unit at all or be anywhere near the inlet to the sensors. That damages these sensors inside here. As well as Cavicide, any kind of cleaning agents, we want to keep all that away from this unit. Try not to directly spray it or keep it in the vicinity of anything around that. So you're going to find these charging platforms in an enclosed area where it should be protected. So on the engine, behind the driver, it's mounted. In the truck, it's going to be mounted in that divider with all of the other materials where the multi-rays are now. And in the medics, it's going to be where that charger is for your spare battery during that top shelf, or I'm sorry, the middle shelf, where you have your equipment on that side door behind the passenger in the medic. So again, try to keep it out of the elements as best you can. These are water resistant and so forth, but you don't want to suck anything up into this pump like water, etc. If you are on scene where it's raining possibly, or you're using it when you're spraying water on any type of fire incident, try to protect this as much as you can. It is semi-durable, but we don't want to damage any of these sensors if we don't need to, or the unit itself. Again, be careful when you're cleaning around it, cleaning it. If possible, just use a wet rag to clean in the vicinity of this. That way the sensors have a long life. Thank you.